Hello, welcome and welcome back. This is Jacob, and today we are gonna be both continuing and beginning the narration for Act 2 of the main campaign of Arknights, titled in its entirety Shadow of a Dying Sun, with today's first in-game episode, aka Chapter 9 of the game, Stormwatch. So, first and foremost, considering this is the beginning of a new act, and considering that the game is very generous here and gives me a recap button so I don't need to quickly recap anything myself. So stick around, it's a pretty decently composed recap of prior events leading up to here. But outside of that, I would also like to, just for purposes of showing everybody what has transpired between Acts 1 and 2, because there is a significant time skip between Act 1 and 2, and that is almost a full year minus maybe a couple of weeks, maybe a week or two, essentially. So, what I'm trying to say here is, if you are maybe a new player to the game and have stumbled upon this video, but you want to still keep watching this video, skip ahead until you see me hover over the stages and going into the actual story, because the story of Stormwatch is pretty much an introduction into Victoria, its problems, aka troubles, wink, look that up, but it is pretty much a self-contained thing where it will not, until its very end, spoil anything of the main campaign so far. So pretty much the only spoilers today in this very first episode are going to be the recap that I'm going to go over with, a timeline that I'm going to show you in a second, and once in the future we get to a future episode where we will conclude Stormwatch, that will be the final spoiler of this chapter. Outside of that, the story is pretty much self-contained, might here and there mention some things, but nothing major. Imagine it almost like one of the side stories that the game has, where they don't really spoil anything else outside of maybe vaguely mentioning things. And for people who don't know what is happening out of context, obviously that will mean nothing. But outside of that, if you wanna keep now skipping ahead, now would be the best time, because I am bringing up the timeline, so here we go. But yeah, we had quite a time skip between Act 1 and Act 2. And also, by the way, I can't remember in which video, I have already used this picture once already, and if I can find the link, I will post it in the comment section below, because I do want to credit the person who has posted this on Reddit a couple of months ago at this point. I think I used it in some narration right before Stultifera came out, but I can't remember which episode, so I'll have to rummage a bit. Hopefully find it. Anyway, outside of that, almost an entire year has passed between Act 1 and Act 2. Act 1, just to zoom a bit in, or rather the prologue to Episode 8's ending, all took place like the previous narrated episode that I went through stated, took place across 2 weeks, and those 2 weeks have been at the end of the year 1096 and the beginning of the year 1097 roughly. In this period of time, all of the prologue from rescuing the doctor to the very moment where Tallulah got captured at the end have taken place. Small time window, lots of shit happened. So, what else do we have later? So first off, a thing that is not obviously listed here, because it's many separate little stories in one big package, as I've also said in previous episodes, the Vigilo series is taking place somewhere after the main campaign ends, and I don't know if it spans actually this like empty section right here, or if it's just thrown about everywhere through here, but essentially some episodes are definitely happening before the Obsidian Festival, for example, because in one of the episodes, from what I remember from the top of my head right now, one of the episodes actually shows when Fiala, for example, joins up with the team. But outside of that, the very first story in the timeline after that, a couple of months actually later, is Granny and the Knight's Treasures, which is fun to think about because I think from memory, that should be the very first side story that got introduced into the game, of the bigger kind. And it is also funny to think about that this is the very story that kicks off the events that later lead into the Undertides and Stultifera storyline. This is the story where Scotty gets the key, for those of you who know. But continuing onward, this is also a couple of weeks later where the Maria Knurl event begins with the Casimir's Major's initial qualifications and stuff where she participates in the Knights tournaments. Later on, the Obsidian Festival, which introduced us to a certain female tourist C, which this female tourist C went over to Docile's holiday and suddenly decided to use a water gun. Later on, we have Twilight of Volumunda, roughly 2 months after that. Again, 2 months after that, the Code of Brawl story takes place, focusing on the Penguin Logistics crew. Then we have the Neural Light event, which, by the way, should have a rerun some point this year. So expect, there's a slight little thing here, expect to see on the channel both a proper narration done, not just the VODs that are up for the Neural Light thing, but expect a proper narration done in this style, so pretty much in this style for the Neural Light and the Maria Knurl story. And after the Neural Light story concluded, we have the Break the Ice story, which was, so far, at least from when this timeline got made, the final story before episode 9 of the side stories. And Break the Ice, if you haven't heard it yet, is a story that I did narrate on the channel, and all I can say is these last two, from what I remember, are stories where the Doctor is actually heavily involved. In Neural Light, more so in the background than foreground, dealing with lots of stuff around the tournament. Break the Ice is a story where the Doctor is actually heavily involved, and it's funny to think about how the Doctor from here to here keeps changing, massively changing as they are learning more and more about the world. And that is also the very importance of the Vigilo series, which introduces us to a present Doctor who is ever changing, and we get small glimpses of the past Doctor that we will only ever get through glimpses like that. But outside of that, the beginning of the year 1098 is where we are right now, and this is where the County Hillock stuff sets off. Outside of that, all I can say is prior to the main campaign, we have the Arknights memoirs on the very left that I'm not going to show in the other timeline right now. The Arknights memoir stories and the 3 different points in time for the A Walk in the Dust stories covering Cultsit stuff. And post Chapter 9, the only thing that is kind of hard locked in, because it pretty much tells you the date and everything, would be the Guide Ahead story, which is another year, I think a year and a half later after this chapter taking place in Laterano, which was a very interesting story in itself. But this will do it for the timeline. So, let's begin with the in-game recap. Strap yourselves in, here we go. How long has it been already since you awoke in Chernobog? The span of a blink, like a lifetime ago. You still remember when you opened your eyes, the light you saw, and the voice you heard calling. Sorry for making you suffer again. You still remember the warmth of the girl's hand. Doctor. Doctor! Hand! Take my hand! You still remember where you left your slumber, the unbearably broken world that greeted you. You still remember hiding among the countless enemies, an unerring gaze. Trying to run? Where do you think you're going? Go, tear them apart. You remember, as before, battling with wave after wave of hostiles, the catastrophe taking its callous hold. And the enemy more fearsome than the catastrophe still. I shall grant you an ending that I am quite fond of. Disappear. Those around you made great sacrifices, paid the ultimate price. Each name, each likeness, you firmly remember. Even so, you weren't spared much time to familiarize yourself with all that Rhode Island is, and was. The insurrection in Chernobog was only a beginning. Rhode Island was pressed to swiftly proceed to Lungmen, because it was more than likely that Lungmen would become the next target of Reunion's indiscriminate attacks. To earn the trust of Lungmen Chief Executive Wei and Wu, Rhode Island carried out an investigation in the slums. You remember here you saw the plight of the infected wherever you looked. And in that plight, the infiltration of Reunion determined to resist. You still remember a little girl who had been drawn into all this. She was Reunion's true target. Once kind-hearted by nature, she ultimately chose to take up arms to save her own people. You still remember how she herself never was saved. People always have a way of surpassing your expectations. Even more so when it comes to the infected. Power begets madness, and desire begets depravity. They are cancers, eroding away all that is good in this world. If you want to keep it, I won't stop you. Just know that one day, your room will be filled with masks like this. All people must bear the consequence for the choices they make, infected or otherwise. You remember how, at the same time, within the district of Chernobog, the recon team found Reunion assembled. They ran away. They had pretty quick reactions. Ran away before we had a chance to take action. Disconnected themselves and took off as quickly as they could. But where did they hope to escape to? You remember as you rescued the imperiled team the first time you saw the girl who was as frost. You still remember this too was Reunion's trap. You remember, the LGD forces pursuing the Reunion remnants to the outer edge. The enemy launched their offensive from inside, with the LGD at the center, and assailed Lungmen. I'm safe now, but Reunion took over one of our important facilities and is now forcefully opening a passage between the slums and the outer city. You remember the young inspector swearing to retake the LGD by her own strength and defeat the insurrectionists' foe within Lungmen. You remember, she too went through setbacks but remained unyielding. Maybe I have changed. As time passed, I had fewer grievances about Lungmen, and I've been able to place my trust in more people. You are no longer just Inspector Hoshiguma, you are my friend and my partner. Your shield has protected me all this time, so once in a while, you should let me be your shield. Phew! You're not even going to blush after saying all that? No matter how you feel, we are the LGD. We aren't rioters, nor are we criminals. We will take back our headquarters, not necessarily for the sake of pride or justice. We will do it because we are the LGD, and we will take back what belongs to us. That's the only reason we need. Do not make Lungmen worry about us. Do I make myself clear? Obedience, diligence, and perseverance. It's time. Let us rid the LGD headquarters of every last Reunion member. You remember her brimming with courage, bravely charging the enemy ranks. Officer, I know what you are. My Originiumarts only work on the infected. I don't care. Don't you know that you're only going to become his pawn, to be discarded when you've served your purpose? You can have those words back. You remember Rhode Island making haste, arriving just at the battle's decisive moment. You're using your own blood as an incendiary? Huh, do I look like some sort of caster to you? Only some egoistical newbie would go around committing arson like that. Sorry, but this is just one of my fighting techniques. Show yourself. You have nowhere to hide. You remember the LGD taken back, and the horn blown to signal a counterattack on all fronts. You remember Rhode Island and the LGD fighting apart, Reunion suffering defeat after defeat. Just you? Move, and I shoot. You still remember, at the end of the fight in Lungmen, how Rhode Island had to once again face an enemy she didn't want to fight. Yes, you will now fight me. Only one of us leaves. If you can defeat me, it means some will be able to survive. You remember it vividly. It was precisely because we both knew. We both cherished the same ideal. And because we did, neither of us could back down. I am willing to join Rhode Island. I am willing to fight together with you against the enemies of the infected, your way. This is my burden to bear. She was, at the instant the battle concluded, a part of Rhode Island. And yet, Reunion's crushing defeat in Lungmen was no more than Tallulah moving her first piece. Exploiting the cover of a sandstorm, the Chernobog core city approached Lungmen. You remember, a direct attack using a city as a weapon. That was Tallulah's true maneuver. In this moment, the firm and resolute Shen chose to leave, alone. Rhode Island 2 chose to abandon coordinated action with the LGD and go onto the fray. To make landfall and attack the Chernobog core city and halt Reunion's offensive. Drivers, maintain a steady speed. Check your maps. Use the sandstorm to cover your approach to the core city until you're in range to deploy boarding gear. Engage. You still remember how we returned to the core city, defended by guards every step of the way, and met an old friend. It's been a while, Amia, Dr. Kaltsit. Exhausted our strength. Rosmont is shouting in the middle of battle. I'm not doing that, by the way. Put an end to the quandary. It tries to walk forward, but its fragile wings are unable to support its own body. There are sounds trickling out of its throat, like a river of terror form the whimpers. Creatures of artificial nature can usually be tracked back to a Yet don't be fooled by its appearance. No matter how beautiful it may seem, you are looking at the culprit behind the surrounding devastation. It's singing. Prevailed over a mighty enemy. The Wendigo freezes in place. Something appears to be dripping sorrowfully from his helmet. A minute passes. During this eternity of a minute, there are no other sounds except for the low rumbling of the moving city. Everyone there was forced to confront their own hearts. They may have overcome their doubts, no longer at a loss. Shen has tried to run far away many times, but she stopped herself. They may have indulged their hatred, fixed and unwavering. The women standing at the core were bound to decide the final battle at the summit of the tower. The Battle of Lungmen drew here to an end. It was as if there were fundamentally no winners and no losers. Only each individual settling their aspirations, each headed somewhere different. Doctor? You don't want to talk? I get it. So much has happened. But with you by my side, I feel happy. There are some things we can't do by ourselves. Rhode Island, we always press forward no matter what the dark clouds bring. And no matter how many terrible stories unfold across the world. I'll always believe in the warmth in your heart. Welcome home, Doctor. Every battle in the standoff against Reunion you can recall. But you still cannot find any recollection of the things that should most come back to you. The things of the past, the things of Rhode Island. the things you can truly do. You know, come the future, that there will be more journeys still to take, and that this is no more than a beginning. And that concludes our recap, which somehow jumps me to Shatterpoint for some reason. That's not what we're here for today. But yeah, that marks that. So, in today's story, we will cover, obviously, the intro cutscene here, 9-1. We will then continue over to stage number 2, 3, and 4. While in today's episode, we will not be really showing off any of the enemy faction leaders or whatsoever, it will serve as a big introduction to, like I said at the beginning, of this very territory, its problems, and a boatload in itself. So there's a lot of story to go over with. Plus, for once I will not be ending an episode with a cliffhanger, if you can believe it. But let's begin with part 9-1, titled Storm Assault. Victoria's 7th Frontline Infantry Battalion, 2nd Tempest Platoon, makes landfall on County Hillock. Oh, and one final piece before we begin. Considering that Victoria is pretty much based on a lot of, well, the UK and Ireland, I am not going to be doing any of those accents. Believe me, I always try to do accents. Well, always try. I always try to do them. They never succeed. And, yeah, it would just sound bad. Believe me on that one. So, I'm saying this because one of the characters today is Bagpipe. And that gal has a... she has an accent, alright. And I'm not doing that. Anyway. The hibernating mountains carry smokestacks high, and the tracks run hauling my home with creak and cry. I found an acorn rolling in the gutter all alone, and right by a rivet rusted all of its chrome. We've entered the warehouse. Investigation team, report status. Leader, vital signs to the southeast. 7 shelves away from you, moving within 1 meter. Number of heads? 1. Any originium response? None for the time being. Good. Hold your positions. Bagpipe? Got it. What are you looking for? Doesn't it sound like someone singing? Don't get distracted. This means our target's guard is down. Keep to the plan. Wait for my signal. Then you charge. For now, keep moving. 5, 4, 3. Ready. Bunker destroyed. What's going on? All this smoke out of nowhere. Don't move. Stay where you are. Raise both your hands up. You're Victorian soldiers. What do you mean by that? Aren't you Victorian too? He's looking to run. Cello? Watch to intercept. Leader, he's not heading for the exit. He's turned back. Triangle. Target heading for the back shelves. If you pick up any originium response, open fire immediately. Everyone else, form behind my shield. Quick! Bagpipe, what are you doing? I'm covering it. Everyone run! You... Leader, no Originium response. There is not a bomb under Bagpipe. Oh, false alarm. And the target? Sorry, I knocked him a little hard. He won't be standing for a while. And what of the boxes? I'll take a peek. All potatoes and carrots and cauliflowers too. I squashed them flat. Shame, they seem just fine for eating. Stay alert. This one, and this one. They're all the same. Leader, it's all produce and grains in here. Triangle, watch for anyone else nearing the our perimeter. A boy, you search the warehouse with Bagpipe. Signal on any discovery. Cello, take this man stuck on the floor and tie him up. Right now, sir, we're going to need you to answer a few questions. I don't know anything. I'm here for sorting the potatoes. Are you from County Hillock? Yes. Have you heard of any Spectre Force? Spectre... what? Doesn't Force mean people like you lot, all the soldiers? They took Lori and Julia and Chris away. Is it my turn? My turn now? I want you to calm down. Listen, we have people who saw a bunch of Originium goods enter this warehouse late last night, and now those goods are in here. You need to give me an explanation. Explanation? That's what you're looking for? You're not going to just hang me? Hey, what are you spitting around for? You gotta care about hygiene. Any leads? None. It's potatoes everywhere. If our informant wasn't wrong, then they must work a sight fast. Alright. Bring him. He definitely knows something. He's just not willing to open up. There it is. You're all the same, dying to find faults in all of us. Torturing us, you Victorian oppressor beasts. Again? He thinks calling another Victorian counts as an insult. It's flying over my head. Leader, incoming. How many? Prepare to break up. Yes, leader. Update, leader. They seem to be our own. They're in here. Leader, we're surrounded. Going by the numbers, yes. If you listen to their voices, there don't seem to be too many left outside. If I crack the wall by me, then we've got our chance. Don't get hasty. I see you've had a fierce confrontation in here. Rita's Commandos, 7th Frontline Infantry Battalion, 2nd Tempest Platoon Leader. Nice to meet you, Lieutenant Scamandros. My name isn't too easy to remember. You can call me Horn, Captain. Very well, Horn. I'm Kelly. Luz Kelly. I'm sorry, codenames aren't our style. Captain Kelly, you and your troops are presumably also here to investigate this warehouse. Correct. We've received the tip-off too. Then you ought to understand how grave the situation is. A great deal of illicit Originium goods were stolen off a military transport a couple of months ago, and ultimately came to vanish in this region. I need to remind you, Captain, with this much ordnance, coupled with recent thefts in surrounding counties, if fallen into felonious hands, the menace posed will reach far beyond County Hillock. Good. Thank you for the rundown. I understand. And we're frankly thankful for your cooperation. Hill. Sir. Take this young man, this suspect, back to camp. What? It was mad for us getting this man as our lead. Sir, her spear is obstructing fulfillment of my duty. Bagpipe, let it go. But our mission... We're on Hillock land right now. Captain Kelly puts a handkerchief pulls a handkerchief from his pocket and wipes the sweat off his forehead. Very glad we could pursue you, Lieutenant. You and this young Wuier lady, and all other present. You must be certainly worn out by your hard journey, dashing here from Londinium. It's our duty as soldiers of Victoria. Yes, quite right. Now, if you still have intention to cooperate in County Hillock, we're obliged to continue tracking the thieved Originium goods. This is an order from Londinium. I imagine Colonel Hamilton would see sense too. Of course. You may accompany me back to camp. Leader, do we really have to give him up to them? They have to be doing this on purpose. Ever since we touched foot on the outskirt plate, they've been following right behind. Right until now, just as we caught him. Station troops of the Empire have a responsibility to address any threat to public safety that arises within their station. They haven't violated any code. Alright. Captain, he's yours. As per code, we may also take part in the interrogation. We hope you recall. Yes, quite in line with code. No, let me go! Don't take me! Help me! Save my soul! I haven't done anything. I don't know. Ah! Hill. Thorough rebel like him always do make us see like this. Take him away. Really? What gives them the right? Leader, I think that we feline wants us to help him. He's scared to death of going with them. Triangle. Here, leader. Still in position, outside of the same tree. They haven't noticed me. Good. Take the reconnaissance group and keep investigating along nearby transport routes. If you find any leads, immediately report back. Understood. We are notifying their barracks. No need. Be sure to defend yourselves. Alright, and moving on to stage 9-2, titled The Ghost Crisis. A well-hidden enemy might as well be a ghost. And this one only has a before story. So let's begin. County Hillock. A medium-sized nomadic city, a modest distance out from Londinium. Main pillars are agriculture and light industry, not on closest terms with the surrounding counties. Full match to what the intel describes. Outcast, you there yet? Just made it a minute ago. Did you slap a tracking device on me? I've called you like 15 times since last night. I took the wasteland route, as if I'd have signal. Okay, let me get to this out there. I'm not the one in a rush. Misery's pushing it. You know how he is, the very word. Not my fault he can't chill out. He's always wound up, even out on a mission. It's like, is he looking to spread some more wrinkles? Wouldn't be Misery if he was anybody else. Fair enough. Seriously though, any thoughts on the city? Extremely normal. Intel might be faulty then. There's at least 40-ish cities in Victoria at that scale. No matter how bright the Londinium sun shines, there'll always be places its light can't reach. You've seen the files. You should know County Hillock doesn't have any noble at the reins. 2 counts showed interest in the city, but never saw it through. Because it won't make any money? Yeah, or because of how ordinary it is. But the more normal a place looks, the better it is to hide in plain sight. No matter when Rhode Island decides to get moving, this is a good opportunity to scout the way ahead. Gotcha. Just call me if you need support. I only just geared up to head for Connor County. I'm still close by for now. Resettling infected's not easy work. I'm on basic chore duty compared to your mission, probably down at the branch office drinking tea more than half the time. Give me a break. With a storm like this coming, is a sancta like you gonna be happy chilling with a cup of tea? You know, I'd love to live it up like a retiree. Wonder why I'm not convinced. Whatever. Let's just all get our jobs done and head home soon as we can. Unrelated out. There are a bunch of Greek sancta operators waiting for you to hold marksmanship classes. Greek. Green. Why did I say Greek? Relax, they need some free study time every now and then too. Also, I know it goes without saying, but misery won't get off my back about it. Be careful, Outcast. Hope it all goes smooth. Smooth? Sorry, kiddo, but that's not me. "6:50 a.m. Overcast. Interrogation room, County Hillock of Victoria Barracks, outside corridor. Leader, it's so stuffy in here. There's no ventilation or nothing. You said the same thing. You said the same during the Stockton serial bombing interrogation last year. I'm not gonna be used to it no matter how many times. You might call Cello instead. With her being over 2 meters, she could scare him into behaving a bit. You punching a clean hole through a steel table frightens suspects just as much. I lost my head for a bit there. He took 2 children and then he sat there being so snarky about their family. Didn't that steam you as well? Was I steamed? You left... You left finger marks on his imprisonment device with how hard you squeezed around his neck. He pissed himself straight on the spot with the shock you gave him. Spat his co-conspirators' names and the bomb coordinates right out, all shivering. That was mostly your credit, wasn't it? It was a necessary means of interrogation. Oh, I've never been good with those means. I passed basic interrogation theory by the skin of my teeth. Always copied my friends' homework as well. Then you're in luck. Our principal role today is sitting on the side, listening. And thank goodness, actually, it's almost time, isn't it? Why has nobody come to bring us in? Didn't that captain tell us it was going from 7 o'clock? It's still 4 minutes to. Excuse me, is Captain Kelly present? We're scheduled to meet him here. I'm not sure. Is their interrogation set for 7? I don't know. Yesterday afternoon, we had a man suspected of smuggling illegal Originium goods. Do you know where he's being kept? I don't know. That's 3 strikes. Well, it wouldn't surprise me if County Hillock keeps slightly different time of Londinium to Londinium. Is that a thing? Seems at least to Captain Kelly it is. I suppose we'll just have to do as the locals do. It's 10 minutes past now. Checking the time over and over won't bring our colleagues here any faster. Perfect in a way. I need to talk with you about that false alarm of a battle yesterday. Huh? Leader? You aren't getting one past me. I'm asking you, when I gave the order to withdraw, why did you jump at the crate instead? Aren't you yelling for the others to withdraw? Before we entered the warehouse, you ordered me to make sure to catch the suspect alive. That was the initial order. But orders are orders, right? We all thought the suspect set off a bomb, didn't we? I judged that I was the only one with a chance to complete the mission. If I could block the blast wave, I could keep the suspect alive and you'll all be safe and sound too. Of course, I had no qualms about your shield leader. Remember the time you saved me under all that artillery fire from the Sargon mercs? Because I'll never forget that. That's not what I'm talking about. And I'm only supposing there really was a bomb inside that crate. You would have taken grave harm, possibly even thrown away your life. No way. There weren't any explosives that high spec in that high spec in the stolen goods. Even if someone modified them secretly, the force wouldn't be any harder than the fourth cracker shells we use in combat exercises, you know? I can take those. She's not joking, by the way. If you're in some way or fashion new to the story or haven't realized yet, the people of this world can take explosions to their motherfucking faces. Anyway. Don't be overly reliant on Wuvierian constitution in combat. How many times have I told you that? 5? 10 at minimum, by my memory. And I can't imagine Slim didn't teach you that too. Might have taught me that? Your smile beaming has no effect on me. I'm your leader. I'm responsible for the safety of everyone under me. I'm sorry, leader. You know what's coming after we return, don't you? You can have me run laps, no problem, but I'd hate to go without supper. There's times I have no idea how I should handle you, Bagpipe. You're the most outstanding soldier under my command. Your obstinance goes right along with your combat skills, constantly exceeding expectations. Well, it's going to be that way. My mom told me when I was little, Wuvier woman must see things through to the end. Not even a hurricane means much of anything. If you can't harvest all the wheat before it bogs down, your precious grains will go all moldy. I was not singing you praises. Forget it, no matter how much I scowl at you. It'll be a miracle if it reforms you any. Believe me, leader, you've got a face far from scary. I've seen plenty enough of the sort with eyes all bright, telling people all sinister things with all the worst language Victoria has to offer. Enough. Meaningless platitudes like this won't affect a qualified Victorian serviceman. You mean to say... this... does it have to be this way? Damien, no. I mean Barry. He was a good one ever since he was young. I can guarantee he simply took a wrong turn. You're absolutely right. My apologies. Yes, I will follow orders. Yes, those Londinians are still here. Understood. I'll pass down the instructions, sir. My assurances. I never forget. I am first and foremost a Victorian soldier. Leader, you're checking the clock again. I'm not like you. I can't go blank anywhere, anytime. Honestly speaking, I've had that feline from the warehouse on my mind. I still properly like the song he sang. I imagined a bit, don't know why. That song would be lovely for singing alongside tractoring. The hibernating mountain scary livestock herds. He's staring at me. Was he singing out of tune? You remember the words wrong. Oh, wasn't it livestock? Was it buildings then? Or tillers? You, Hillock pal over there, do you know what this song's words are meant to be? You shouldn't be singing it here. Sorry, did I violate any of your rules? At the very least, don't go singing that bunch's song in front of us. That bunch? What bunch? I don't get what you're saying. Are you fiddling with me, Wuvier? Huh? What's got you angry now? Bagpipe. Can't shake the feeling something's off kilter. You can save it for later. I'm not talking about... Leader, I think I just heard someone in there singing as well. You're right. A matching tune comes from the depths of the dimmed corridor, of a deeper tone, rougher, broken off by a few fierce coughs from time to time. You think the man's in there? Hey, you're not allowed in! Oi! Are you the one we caught yesterday in the outskirt warehouse?
Do you mean Damien?
Poor Damien got dragged off ages ago. Huh? When? How did we not hear? Where did he get taken to? Where? You're asking where? He's already... Shut up! Or would you like to go the same way he went? You're threatening him. Why? Where in the world did that man yesterday go to? Went home. Went home? He got let go? So he had nothing to do with the Spectre Force at all? Leader... Let me in. You aren't allowed to converse with a prisoner without permission. I want to see Captain Kelly. Step aside, soldier. I know he's in here. He is not. You were the adjutant at the warehouse with the vile mouth. I remember you. What's your idea here? The captain left on urgent business. He asked me to pass this to you. The interrogation ended 1 hour ago. So you mean you went and gave us the wrong time? A lapse in communication. Not uncommon at all, is it? What bloody lapse in communication? Do you think we're idiots? Leader, they gave us false info, let us up the garden path. That's not the key point. I'm asking you, soldier, why did you show up to tell us this information now? Since you've bided so much time, surely none of you will mind us waiting even more. In regards to your question, the other Victorian soldier uttering some muttered report. Thank you. Acknowledged. Lieutenants Commandos, the order I received was to inform you of the following. Convict Damien Barry, your individual of utmost concern, was, 10 minutes ago, in an attempt en route to seize weaponry from his escort and assault military personnel, shot dead. What bloody nonsense are you feeding us? We've seen that lad. He's just a normal man. He was frightened stiff when he saw us. How would he go attacking a fully armed regular unit by himself? This is to say, you summarily executed the suspect without trial. I have relied to you the facts. Leader, we've been put in the dark. Why wouldn't they let us have access to the suspect? Aren't we stood on the same side? I'm still unclear about their reasons right now. The one thing I can be sure of is, if we want to continue investigating, we've only got ourselves to depend on. The attitude the barracks have is loud and clear. They won't be of any help to us whatsoever. I'm not daft either. I can see they've got a mean habit for tripping people up. So what do we do next? We scarcely got our lead, and it's gone again. We need to think of some other way. Oh yeah, I just thought, that man called Damien. He said his work was sorting the potatoes. Every other agricultural plate in a nomadic city has its own channel for transporting crops inwards. We should... Whoa, what? Okay, I don't know why the game is doing that, and I'm terrified that it's gonna break down at some point. It's kind of jumping frames for some reason, so apologies for those. We should be able to find the frameworkers' settlement by following along. If we can have a chat with his friends or kin, we might find our lead again. It's a very you train of thought. Then you just leave the information inquiring to me. Excellent. We begin immediately. Leader, are you gonna come with? I'll stay to negotiate with the barracks. To my mind, they wouldn't slop out an execution without going through interrogation. As long as they held one, there'll be records left behind. Triangle? Leader, we were in the outskirts. You've got ambushed? They came out of nowhere, and I got rumbled. This lot's combat techniques and weaponry, they're a full match with previous intel. Even Snare's arts can barely hit them. Damn it. Remember, your main duty is to come back alive. Acknowledged, leader. We should be fine. Triangle out. This is major intel. Our target, the force they call Spectre-like, is in County Hillock this very moment. Alright, and we continue over now to stage 9-3, titled A Game of Cards. Those standing in the sunlight haven't yet noticed the shadows gathering atop their very heads. This stage only has a after story, so let's go in. 7:11. Yep, 7:11 a.m. Overcast. Rhode Island County Hillock's branch office. Morning, everyone. The weather is not bad at all today, wouldn't you say, Uncle Oliver? Oh, it's you. I was just asking who else could it be knocking at the crack of dawn? But it's a gloomy day today no matter where you look. What's to appreciate? Anytime it's not raining is good weather. That's what you get in County Hillock. For that matter, how do you know the day is not going to turn clear skies? Fine, you've got me there. Shredder, you stop dilly-dallying. We haven't got any we haven't got anyone dropping in. It's just Janny, Daily Ditcher. You were one to talk. Shredder, you come over here with us. I brought you a... And I hope this is how we pronounce this one. You coffee pie today. And some shortbread. Thou sent me some tea last week, so I brought that too. Uncle Oliver, is there any evaporated milk left? Leftovers started molding ages ago. That bloody man never remembers to go buy any. Isn't it your turn on the shopping, or am I hallucinating somehow? Fred, Will, we need your thoughts too. Alright, it's not worth crying over this little spilled milk. Look, what's this? Fresh, new evaporated, and some cheese too. Picked them up along the way from the morning market. Here, you can have some. You can have them. I've wanted to try making milk tea for forever now. I think you'll like it. You'll like it at least, Uncle Oliver. Still no one more considerate than you, Jenny. Well, you'd better learn well. At least don't start acting like that man next to you with Shredder for a code name. This shortbread tastes delicious. Oh, right, Miss Willow, isn't your senior officer going to get on your case for running here every day to bring us breakfast? The Victorian Army's rules are a fair deal strict, if I recall. You don't need to worry about that. I'm a guard of honor. I'm only good for big events or recruitment drives. They don't have much use to put me to. The sergeant major wouldn't even think about me most of the time. Besides, it's not like I don't do anything proper. Every morning when I get up, the first thing I do is pull this banner off its support. While I wait for the flour to ferment and the coffee to brew, I'll straighten out the creases a bit by bit. Once the shortbread's done, that means I have to wash the flour off me. It takes some time for my hair to dry naturally, and that's the perfect time to care for the flagpole and let it shine like brand new. Uncle Oliver, don't rush to pick up your tea yet. It's still too hot. For a complete morning, everything needs to glow gorgeous, no exceptions. Only then can I bring joy to you all. That's my life's creed. What's the pie like today, Shredder? Want any more? Perfect, just like every day before. Really? Let me try some too. Seems I put a little too much sugar in. I'll make sure to watch out for that tomorrow. Well, I'm not going to tell you off for being lazy like they do now, Miss Willow. Jenny. That's what everyone calls me. Alright, Miss Jane, my honest fear is that they'll want me spending every morning as amply as you do. No need for that. I'm not like any of you. There's only so much I can do for the people here. I think the tea is about the right temperature now. Just make sure to stir it a little before you drink. You sent the ball flying again, Craig. I'll go get it. Oh, pooh! It went into the building. If you actually hit any of the grown-ups, then you're in for it. Last time, didn't Carol get... Someone's come out. Let's run. Whose ball is this? Is it yours? Craig, come on, run! Forget the ball! No, that ball's left by my dad. If you're too shy about it, I won't hand it back. Come on, hold your hand out. Are you gonna beat me? Why would I beat you now? Your clothes got dirty. That's just me being careless. It's no matter. All the other grown-ups like you, they don't care if it wasn't me who got them dirty. They always beat us, but not with their hands. They kick us instead, and they shout all loud to scare us off. That means they're definitely not your friends. Do you live around here? I think I've spotted you before. Doesn't your ma sell apples at the crack of every dawn? Down at the alley in District 17 nearby. Your family's apples are scrumptious. Not too crisp, but still very, very sweet. Perfect for making apple butter and spreading onto bread. How about this? I'll put the ball on the windowsill here, and you come and pick it up, okay? Hold on, slow down. I've got tea on my hands. It's gotten your hair all wet. Let me wipe that for you. I'm Jenny. What's your name? Craig, it's your ma looking for you. Quick, you gotta go. Got into a commotion outside. Children playing ball. Those bunch of rotters, all higgledy-piggledy in the streets first thing in the morning. I bet it was them who broke the last window pane too. Children, you know. I broke the man next door's flower pots when I was young, and my dad really gave me a talking to for that. You laid hands on that boy. Just now? Yeah, if I didn't wipe his hair clean, it'd be sticky all day. His father passed away half a year ago. Poor bloke, caught a ripophy. There's a lot cause of that, won't dare touch him. Oh. Workers fairly strapped for cash. The Orion byproduct processing plant has a partnership with Aneka, but they don't give the full amount of prophylactics. It's normal for you to hesitate. In the neighborhood, it's about 1 in 5 houses turning out to have ripophy patients. They care for another in a sense. If those soldiers weren't here... Shredder, you've lost track. It's alright. You're just stating the facts. I've heard how my co-workers treat the ripophy sick. No, not just the sick. They've got the wrong idea about all of the residents. I don't think the same way. We're all Victorian, aren't we? Their days might be hard on them, I understand full well, but I hope for them to live a little happier too. What do you think? Should I have been even better to that child? Don't force yourself. What's the long face for? I'll bring the playing cards out. Wasn't it you who suggested a spot of tea with cards, Miss Jane? Yes, Will's right. The sun's poking out for once in a while. Let's not waste the good weather. Take a seat, everyone. I'll pour you all some more tea. There's still plenty left in the pot. Is that me who's won again? It's too early to be full of yourself. You're on shift tonight. Oh, what? How's it me again? Not clicking? That was our stakes. Whoever won at cards is on broom duty, file sorting, buying us all afternoon tea. Can I get a redeal? Uncle Oliver, your jokes are putting Bill in tears again. Isn't that the fun of a game of cards? One small tip next time you try second dealing, remember to watch behind you. What? Who's talking? And on a side note, the tea is an excellent brew. Hello, who might you be? She came in suddenly and none of us noticed her? They call me Outcast, my young Wuvierian beauty. I'm sorry I tasted your tea without asking. Seeing as I rushed all the way over here, I hope you won't mind too much. Feel free. If you haven't eaten breakfast yet, would you like to try some pie I baked? It might be a little sweet. I'd love to. Everybody who knows me knows I love sweets, especially the Victorian kind. You got it baked like this to fancy. Adorable perfection. Thank you for the encouragement, Lady Outcast. Outcast? Nobody calls me a lady, really. I'm more of that last type. I know who you are. I remember now. Will, clean the table up, quick. I thought you'd be here 2 days later. Last message you said you just passed the border. Couldn't help it. I haven't been to Victoria in a decade. Some parts are a bit more crowded, but just like me, the years are starting to show in a few places. If I hadn't hitched a ride the wrong way in County Peninsula, we would have met last night. Your understanding, please. County Hillock's not the biggest spot on the map, and we rarely get elite operators at our branch office here. Last time I was out near Minos on fieldwork, I met Stormeye. That was 2 years ago already. Elite Operator? Just the name sounds like a force to be reckoned with. Rhode Island gives different work to different people, that's all. Besides, I'm pretty much just a civil servant now. I only came to County Hillock to fetch some data. You're too modest. On the topic of data, did you want to see our finance forms first, or the ledger for our inventory in and out, and stock this half? Hinting at Will. Hold your beasties. We're not that pressed for time. No need to hurl a starving girl like me straight into work. It's only fair to let me steal a breather here and there, right? I can sympathize greatly. Hope I haven't disrupted your little R&R here. Outcast casually picks up a card. Thin. No more than paper. It spins 3.5 times at her fingertips. Then is gone in a swish. Wow, where'd that card just go? Right here. It's back! What kind of marvelous spatial arts is this? Just a little sleight of hand. I've got this gloomy looking friend who taught me. Whenever I want you concentrating on my fingertips, this method works wonders. All a little more relaxed now? Please, sit down. Oliver and Shredder, Will, plus you there, kiddo, standing in the corner. You must be Fred. Put that folder down and enjoy a little break with us. A chance like this doesn't come every day. Are you sure this is okay? Or would you like to see a magic trick wherein this haggard stranger from out of town dies of boredom? That's it. Please, continue. As for me, I still want a proper taste of this fine black tea with evaporated milk, and that sweet scrumptious pie. Ah, there's more shortbread left here if you still feel hungry, that is. Thank you. Ah, now this dessert hits the spot. My stomach hasn't been this happy in a while. My tongue was beginning to really miss flavor. Now, you cute little miss. I'm Jane. Jane Willow. That's a lovely name. I'm gonna guess you're old enough to drink. I've long since been of age, alas, outcast. I'm serving after all. Oh, that grey Victorian military uniform sure falls flat under your shimmering blonde hair. Oliver, count yourself lucky. No matter how dull and cloudy it gets, you've always got your sunshine indoors. True, true. Little Jenny's brought us a mound of happy days. Listen to you, Uncle Oliver. You're the one all kindly letting me in while I've snuck off from the barracks. I was actually a tiny bit surprised seeing you get along so well as you do. Jane, if all of the soldiers were as lovable as you, we'd lose at least half of those awful rumors making their way across our world. Thank you. If I haven't misunderstood, I assume those are compliments. Even on my way here I saw some not so pretty sights, but anyhow, that's not gonna dampen the joy of meeting all of you here. I'm very glad I could meet you too. Well, then, a toast to our encounter. I came here in kind of a hurry, so I could only bring some regular old gin with way too much lemon because that's how I like it. You folks might find it too sour. We don't really drink on work hours. You killjoy. Alright, that's on me for being sloppy. As a Rhode Island operator, I can't be an exception. Let's just have some tea. So, who's dealing next? Me. Need a little blessing from a Sancta? Good old Outcast. Anyway, continuing and finishing off today with stage 9-4, titled Low Fires All About. In this city, there's either conflict or the rumblings of it. Just where is the lighter of this fire hiding? So, this one has a before and after story, so let's begin. As the wind comes through golden wheat, the forest wild wee pipes of steel clank and beat. I found by the edge of a plate my dear love true, and following a firelight straight from the blue. So that's how the second half of the song goes. How sad. Now Damien's gone, and he won't even get a decent burial. They'd never give him back to us. All they do is scorch him to ash, scatter him off the city, treat him like the dirt under anyone's foot. The sorrowful woman, softly sobbing. First it was Laurie, then it was Chris, and now they've got a hold of Damien too. Grania, when Sean got arrested, they all said he caught Ripathy. And yes, that is apparently how you pronounce that name there, with starting with a G, Grania. No, Ronan, don't go on. Sean, he just caught it being careless. He was a hard-working, loyal man, a poor man, and the only thing he ever wanted was just a better life for me and my son. Grania, haven't you figured it out? We're just a bunch of rivets to them. Of course they'll toss us away without a care when we rust. And even if we haven't rusted, so long as we don't fit too well in the city's machines, we've got the same fate coming. Nothing changes. They never gave a shit when we were catching a Ripathy one by one. Every month they give out those drugs. The other workers get their whole lot, and we can only expect a half, maybe even a third. And the protective suits? How long has Sean been wearing his for? 5 years? Bloody hell, 7? How many times have you snuck out of bed at night just to patch it up? All those laws, all those standards, just for their benefit, and us? We're only fit to eat the potatoes and the rotten apples they don't want. Means nothing to... means nothing that the AG plates of the city soak in our sweat. AG plates, by the way? Agricultural plates. We're only fit to waste away our lives day in and night in the factories, and once we can't work a day anymore, we fall ill one by one just like they wanted. The way this is going, it's like they're sitting there playing dominoes, wiping us torrents off our own city. Stop it, I'm begging you. Ronan, nothing you're saying will lead to any good. Just look at... Cleona, right? Just look at Cleona and her kin stood over there, crying over their own son, their own brother. How many more loves do you want lost? How many more hurting over what your anger did for them? It's the murders that brought this hurt. They're killing us one after another. They're killing us one after another. Times it's with sickness, times it's with more mortar shells. Grania, don't you deceive yourself any longer. The man speaking in a lower voice. This morning a few came looking for me. The O'Briens and Connor's brother. They've decided to join us. It's been hard getting by for you and your kid. Kid, we understand. This is a big moment, and we need to help each other, now more than ever. You'd better keep far from me and my child, Ronan, seeing as my Sean got on well enough with you lot. I have to go, Grania. You see that one over there? She's wearing that uniform. You know our rules. I trust in you, and I'm asking you to trust me more. If you've made up your mind, you can tell Saoirse. Yep, supposedly that is pronounced Saoirse. Which is, from what I found when I was looking up the name, a funny thing because in Irish that word also means freedom, if I remember right. It is quite a coincidence with that name, but yeah. Hello. And he runs away. Hello? Do you know Damien Barry's family? The sorrowful woman just shakes her head. I heard you singing just now. I'm not in the wrong place. I don't know what you're searching about for, but Damien's ma and sister know nothing. Then did he have any especially good friends or anyone who worked at the warehouse with him? We know nothing, that's the truth. The sorrowful woman just whimpering. I'm begging you, please don't take me. Huh? Sorry, did I get too close? I've got no intention of hurting you. You seem awfully scared of me. Is something on my face? No, nothing at all. If you'll allow me, I need to go home. I still have so much fruit from this morning, and it'll go rotten in no time if I leave it alone. Is that Captain Kelly? Cleona, I just want to see you for one moment. I want to know if you and Fiona are still alright. Yes, it was my mistake, but my hands were tied. Of course I remember. I remember it all. Damien, he was the boy of my sister. I watched him grow up his whole life. The day I was transferred back from Peninsula to Hillock, he set an edelweiss in my cap with his own 2 hands. He was still so little then. I'm sorry, I should be telling you all this. You're right, I've been a good for nothing. I haven't the face to return here. I wasn't in time to stop him when he got involved with that group, and I couldn't disobey the Colonel's orders. Not just that, I have to do this. This is all for County Hillock. I love you all, and I love the city. I can't just stand goggling while that bunch tear our home to pieces. I understand, Cleona, my sister, and I'm not asking your forgiveness or anything. I'll be going then. You and Fiona be sure to take care of yourselves. If I can find time tomorrow, I'll come and see you again. What are you? Oh, just a boy. Are you... Are you hurt? Don't run too fast now. It's been decades and they still never leveled the road here. Traitor. What did you say? Traitor. Craig, what are you doing? Get back here now! And what's that ball in your hands for? Oh, forget it. You're always gripping that ball wherever you go. Were you off looking for Connor's brother again? Oh, you. Ronan's told you, hasn't he? Look at your hands all covered in black. It's like you were digging through a mine. You come with me to the morning market from now on. You can't go looking for them around this time anymore. I can't let you become like them. Traitor? Boy, wasn't one bit wrong. The captain stands still for a moment, repeating the word once, twice to himself, finally turning to leave. His head is hung low as he could be, and he doesn't meet the gaze of a single person more, including those young colleagues of him that rush his way. Hold on a moment, Captain. You, what are you all doing here? Back off home, if you know what's good for you. We've told you, you're not allowed to congregate on these streets at this time. This is our home. It's not us who should go packing. Who had the lip to say that just now? What are these? Wilted leaves? Step forward right now. You Tara rebel. Watch I don't... Brandishing a bolt on the streets, far too dangerous. Who are you? I'm here on orders. Come to investigate the case. You're here for the murder at the bar? What murder? This rebel right here. They killed plenty of ours. Damien Barry? Right. I hear he has been put to death already. I suppose it was you lot who caught him. Nicely done. Thank you. We didn't know yet when we caught him. Was he really part of the Spectre Force? Who gives a shake what he was? Serves him right he's dead. Do you hear me? No. No congregating. Each and all of you, up to whatever secret business here, you'll all be treated as suspects. You bloody terror-ass lickers. Don't get carried away. Look, most of them are just plain city folk, with a loved one dead, and they're here grieving for him. Like human nature would. A rotten potato? See? You spoke for them, and you got battered, right? If you're so keen on staying here, stay. As long as I make sure this rabble behaves itself, I'm done. My rotten luck for getting this patrol duty. You riffraff. If I say it again, I'll say it again. No congregating. Oh, it's just more and more rotten leaves. Come this way. What? Reporting in. 9th Defense attacked. Reporting in. 13th Defense currently in firefight. Send notice one more time, please. I want to see Colonel Hamilton. The Colonel is handling urgent affairs. You said that 2 hours ago. I've already abided by strict process. I submitted a description of my duty yesterday when entering County Hillock. If the Colonel won't let us take part in suspect interrogations and goes to lengths to execute them beforehand, and presently refuses my request to meet him. To anyone else, don't you think this conduct might be taken as a deliberate hindrance to our fulfillment of orders? I have no authority to answer your question, Lieutenant. That's fine. I'll say my part, and it's enough if someone listens. I've said before, the Originium products thieved are not small in number. It's sufficient arms to allow a detachment to attack a small town, or bomb a medium nomadic city support tracks. Who'd want to obtain these products? Ordinary bandits wouldn't need them. It costs too much to smuggle them out. With Victorian military goods in this greater bulk, even a Sargon black market under Columbia's protection wouldn't dare provide a means for a deal. Who else is left? A local private arms dealer? Money making off the cost of remodeling? They haven't got the appetite, let alone the guts. Only a well-trained unit, well-versed in military methods, would dare take it, and could evade our spies on top. If this unit got hold of that large a quantity of Originium product, what would their goal be? Conspiracy to overthrow, taking the chance to embezzle far removed from Londinium, colluding with outside powers to fill their pockets, slowly and steadily. Lieutenant. No need to panic, this is all just baseless reasoning. No thanks to whoever's keeping me waiting. I can't get anything done like this. The Victorian soldier subdued communications. Lieutenant, the colonel says he'll be here imminently. Alright, and finishing off today's part with the after story. Took a pelting and some. Missed Captain Kelly in the end. Here, take this hanky, wipe yourself, or else the smell of those rotten leaves will stick to you. Thank you. Didn't imagine any of our soldiers apart from Captain Kelly would visit District 17 on their own. Our soldiers? You mean like you're one too? Shh. I slipped out in secret. Can't do that in uniform. You're not gonna make anyone happy taking a shortcut to the barracks through here in that getup. Really? No wonder. I barely said anything before it was a bombardment of all gone of leaves and fruit. Are you a new transfer? Kind of. I'm here from Londinium. Well, Londinium. I've never been. Must be miles larger than County Hillock there. Does the shard really go 300 floors up? Is there really a teleportation circle buried in the mound under the Royal Victorian Academy of Science, leading to the miraculous space where the first Draco King's jewels are kept? Jewels? Never even heard of them. But I do know what the high-speed terrestrial warships look like when they leave the factory, and I've seen the hydroponics workshop. If you want to know anything of that sort, I could definitely tell you. Warships? Hydroponics workshop? Doesn't sound too much like Londinium is in novels. Oh, sorry, don't let me distract you. If you want to investigate, it'll probably be hard to ask on any of these streets. Might end up like this again, with getting a stink all over me for no reason. God of Light. You're not that stinky. Do these residents often have clashes with us soldiers? Used to just be a minor friction, but it's been getting tense lately. It's like you've been hearing. There's been several cases of our soldiers getting targeted in attacks, and it's stretching everyone's nerves close to the limit. Could it really be the Spectre Force? That's weird. They didn't really target ordinary soldiers before. Spectre... what are you going on about? Nothing. Speaking of, that patrol just now calling the people here Tara Rebel. Hold on, don't just say that out loud here. They'll be eyeing us again. What are you hoping to take away What, are you hoping away to take away even more rotten veg? Ah, gotcha. Are they really not Victorians? Of course they're Victorians. I'm getting more and more lost here. Some people would choose another word, yeah. The one you've been hearing, Tarrants. That's their identity. You have both the locals themselves who would call them that, as well as a decent portion of the soldiers. Now that you put a fine point on it, I've heard the term before. In novels? In history textbooks. Right, they've always been here. Over hundreds of years ago, when it wasn't County Hillock yet, and we still hadn't built our nomadic cities, back when it was grass all across the vales as far as the eye could see, this place was their home. I still remember the legend of the Draco King, Gale. Was he born right around here? Tara was the very name of this region back then. Right, I've read heaps of novels all about the saga of King Gale. King Gale led the Tarrants in a conflict against the first Aslan king, but a few years later he signed a peace treaty along with the ruler of Londinium, didn't he? And here I was thinking, after that, the word Tara just sort of fell away. Before I came to County Hillock, I thought the same. But Victoria's always changing, isn't it? Us Vuvier didn't always live here, but we're all Victorian citizens now. If everyone's minds went like that, we'd avoid plenty of conflict. No need to let it get you down, though. The whole reason we're here is to uncover the real enemy, stop the clash getting any bigger, isn't it? So you'd rather not leave, even if it means a handful of rotten cabbage. You think I'm being a right dunce, don't you? No, not at all. Actually, you're amazing to me. The patrol just now, I've seen masses of rough attitude like that. It's not like I've never wanted to stop it, but I'm a guard of honor, that's all I am. And what's so bad about that? You're a member of the Victorian Army too. Of course you've got the power to change the situation if it doesn't sit right with you. Do I really? Oh, thank you. You're the first person who's ever told me that. Yeah, next time I'll give it a go. Oh yeah, is there anything else I can help you with? Apart from picking these leaves off of you. After all, I don't want to see this conflict boil over either. Let me think. Do you have any local friends you can? I want to ask whereabouts Damien Barry usually went. Friends I've got. Saoirse might know something. Give me a way to keep in touch, and I'll visit the newspaper in a moment. Don't think the Sergeant Major would mind if I'm missing today.
Scamandros.
Colonel?
I once saw your father over 20 years ago at a ball the Duke of Castor was holding. Of course, I was still a bottom-rung guard then. So all I had was a glimpse from afar at the White Wolf Count of legend. Not long after, I heard a deformed feathered reptile struck illness into him at a Londinium beast-life garden, and he quickly took leave from the aristocratic circles. Ever since, he hasn't taken a step beyond his manor at Portsmouth City. Is your father still in fine spirits?
Thank you for your concern, and I hope reminiscing over these years-old affairs hasn't eaten up too much of your precious time. After all, meeting with you doesn't prove easy.
You don't resemble your father.
As is clear, my father did not have the opportunity to serve for the Empire's army like you or I do. Considering the theft of these military Originium goods couldn't possibly relate to him, maybe we don't have a need for probing further into his later life.
One's background decides what kind of person one becomes. Would you agree with that, Scamandros? I believe one has the right to choose one's own future. Listen to that. How befitting an answer of your status. The progeny of the Aslan Aid. First-class honors from the Royal Guard Academy, a Londinium army upstart. Of course you believe you can change anything and everything. I have no intent to make any such changes, Colonel. You don't need to worry about our squad potentially impacting your command over County Hillock. For a joke, I don't find that humorous at all. You can't be so arrogant as to think I'd occupy myself with a partly little lieutenant. I've met people like you plenty. Always bragging, always all braggadocio, skin deep and superficial. I deigned to meet you because I wanted to tell you this. Don't interfere in things beyond your ken. I'm sorry, I cannot agree to that. The orders we received were to ascertain the lost Originium product's whereabouts. If you just stay still and wait where you ought to, then before long you may accomplish your duty and return to Londinium with all the ostentation you'd like. I don't need that ostentation of yours, and Victoria needs it even less. I'm not in the routine of reporting back with a hurriedly lopped off head, sans trial. You're telling me I've a disregard for human life, and you believe those people are truly innocent? How ridiculous. Just 10 days ago, 3 of our soldiers were murdered in cold blood. James Cohen, Robert Boris, and Jeremy Brown. When Cohen's wife wrote to tell him she was with a second child, she had no idea that her husband had a hole gruesomely blown in his head. Boris could have left this place once midsummer passed. He mentioned he'd go back to continue his family's clove years after his retirement. And Brown, he was a bright young student just a year ago, and not even 20 when he died. I give my profound regrets for their sacrifice. Regret? Huh. What weightless rhetoric. Just like every word that wafts out of your mouth. That is exactly why all of us want to catch hold of the assassinators. Colonel, on this matter, we have held anonymous positions throughout. No one else but that Tara rebel killed them. We've uncovered 2 already, but I know there are still more tucked in the background. 15 days ago, our barracks suffered an explosive attack in 3 simultaneous places. According 15 soldiers lost their lives. The crates and the spilled blood of our own still lie where they were. 21 days ago, our resupply transport group were ambushed outside the distribution sector in the outskirts north, and the whole detachment together with their goods disappeared without a trace. Do you feel there is any possibility they would still be alive? This is only the last month's events to boot. You know nothing at all of the losses we've long since endured. These incidents you mentioned all sound very in line with the Spectre Force's MO. In the past half a year, Londinium has continuously received reports from more than 10 different counties, logging up to hundreds of homicide, looting and property damage cases. After every offense, they swiftly conceal their tracks, and all connected personnel who've seen them are caught in assassinations before they can contact us. We've been able to obtain exceedingly little information so far. This is why the lead before us is so crucial. We still don't know the Spectre Force's goal in haunting County Hillock, but I believe they are our mutual enemy. Colonel, if we and the barracks can cooperate and recover the Spectre Forces here, it'll be of great benefit to County Hillock and Victoria as a whole. You still understand nothing at all. You treat the atrocities before you as just another case to win you a medal. But you're wrong, soldier. This is not some case. And no such true culprit exists. This is a war, and it is between us and them. A war ongoing for decades, even for centuries. You call them a Spectre Force, but do you know what the name signifies? Who is the enemy we've been confronting all this time? Well, it's a ghost. It's a phantom drifting over the city, an apparition that echoes in the heads of Taran morons. It is a life-in-spirit ghost. And that spectre speaks a different language to us, willfully distorts the history molded by our ancestors' hands, has delusions that by the body of our city it will one day return to life. Are you saying that a great amount of local populace are supporters of the Spectre Force? Great amount? Supporters? No, you're mistaken. They are one single whole. Have you ever read this anthology of poetry? Seamus Williams. His poems have some fame in Londinium too. This is their very compilation of barefaced lies about Victoria. In their depictions, they have their own language. They are this land's natural owners. Still, Victoria can tolerate the mindsets of authors who come from different cultural backgrounds. No one would assume a dreamer's fantasy as their truth, not unless that dream mentioned taking up a hatchet, not unless it was about wanting to cut our heads off. I still keep this book of an idiot's sleep talk, so that the bloodstains upon it always remind me if one lives on Victoria's land, yet refuses to give one's own name to Victoria, then one is no longer a Victorian, but an enemy and a menace to this country's safety. You executed the holder of this anthology simply because they... Reporting in. Speak. Command has lost contact with 9th Defense and 13th Defense after they were attacked. 5th, 7th and 10th Defense each sent vanguards ASAP to the scene and did not find traces of the enemy. What of our own? They gave their lives. Did you hear that, Command Rose? Right as you were seeing fit to tell me sympathetic rubbish to the enemy, we once again saw outstanding soldiers die at their hands. If that's gotten through your head, then kindly eject yourself from my office. I still have genuine work awaiting me. Fine, very fine. I have my own work to do. All right, and this will be it for today's narration. Sorry for the little repeats and everything through this last bit. For some reason, the well, not even gonna hide it. For some reason, the text between certain people is a bit hard to read here because it is supposed to be, well, in a certain accent. And the military jargon is kind of killing me, not gonna lie. But anyway, this will be it for today's part. Usually, for newcomers, usually these parts are on like a 1 to 2 week schedule, somewhere in between there. But considering that we are going to be having a new side story this very weekend, in the form of the 3rd anniversary side story with Gaviel and all of that shebang, I'll be obviously covering that one pretty much in like a every 2-day span. So expect the next episode of this main story narration to be a couple of days after the that story gets fully covered. But regardless of that, hope you all enjoyed. Again, sorry about the little hiccups here and there, and I will see you in the next video. Until then, have a nice day, and bye-bye.